York Steakhouse was a national chain of steakhouse restaurants that opened in 1966. Thank you for your suggestions. The first York Steakhouse was opened in 1966 by Eddie Grayson and Bernie Groh in Columbus, Ohio. The steakhouse opened in Columbus, Ohio as a freestanding unit with a pod of restaurants called The Patio. A combination of Groh's restaurant background, he was a French-trained chef who would later open B.J. Salvy's, and Grayson's retail history gave York the foundation to grow. The two planned every detail of the experience, from yelling orders to the line chef in French to placing desserts in the front of the line before customers' trays filled up with other choices, to ensuring that the booths had rounded corners so people wouldn't hurt themselves when getting up. Groh oversaw restaurant operations while Eddie Grayson handled merchandising and expansion strategies. York Steakhouses had a floor plan like a cafeteria, cold items on one side, hot items on the other, with the cashier at the end. This combined with a decor composed of subdued lighting, heavy wooden furniture, and iron chandeliers. The restaurants were run like a cafeteria, with a la carte pricing on items. Tipping was not allowed at any of its restaurants. There was also an extra charge for pats of butter and sour cream. York Steakhouse was once the prototype for red meat with a regal motif, while the rest of the restaurant industry was trying to sell commodity steak cafeteria style with strained Western metaphors. York was quietly building a kingdom of castle-inspired eateries. The second unit of the chain was built and operated by Grayson's brother, Howard, inside the Maine Mall in South Portland, Maine, when the mall first opened in 1971. After building a few more units, York Steakhouse started opening in shopping malls where they found great success. The two founders sold the restaurant chain to General Mills in 1976. Good year. The outfit had grown to more than 150 locations, all in the malls east of the Mississippi River. By 1982, there were nearly 200 restaurants in 27 states from Texas to Maine. As part of the agreement with General Mills, the founders continued to operate the restaurants for a few years, ensuring its smooth transition. In the early 1980s, many of the York Steakhouse locations were converted into a new concept called York's Choices, which featured a round bakery case kiosk that sold its signature cakes and pies at the front of the store. Though York capitalized on mall traffic into the late 1970s, by the mid-1980s, newer malls with food courts were saturating the market, leaving York and older locations with dwindling sales. Most locations were discontinued or sold off to individuals and eventually closed. One source reported that the remaining York Steakhouse chain was eventually purchased by Uno Restaurant Holdings Corporation, while other sources reported that the remaining York Steakhouse chain was sold in 1989 to USA Cafes Inc., major franchisees of the Bonanza Steakhouses, for conversion to the Bonanza brand. Regardless, after General Mills sold the chain, a limited number of York Steakhouses continued to operate for several years as independent restaurants. All told, I would say there was about 10 of them that survived at one point. Over the years, they would eventually close until there was only one left, kind of like the last Blockbuster Video in Bend, Oregon. The last York Steakhouse can be found on West Broad Street in Columbus, Ohio, where it is a family-owned and operated. The last one has thrived and survived for more than a half a century on West Broad Street by remaining largely unchanged thanks to its steady, perhaps stubborn strategy, still championed by owner Jay Betton, who turned an abandoned outpost of a dying empire into a nostalgic dining destination. The location was among the first Yorks to add a salad bar to fend off competitors who had already done the same. The menu at York's Steakhouse remains largely the same, with only a modest increase in price. The sirloin tips is the most popular item, Betton says. There's also a honey-glazed chicken, the York fillets, and a 1-pound T-bone for under $17. For dessert, it was and still is all about the chocolate pudding. The last York Steakhouse still has that unique decor with iron chandeliers, heavy wood chairs, and dim lighting consistent with its castle theme. The Columbus restaurant, however, has made a few changes over the years. Betton added a salad bar. That was a Ponderosa, not a York Steakhouse thing. The wood paneling remains, though the dining room has been brightened up. The iron chandeliers are still hanging, though the candelabra bulbs have been replaced. York's fervent fan base is made of customers and employees alike, and it's common for online York alumni groups to make pilgrimages to the last York left in America. So if you're ever in the Columbus area, go ahead and check out York Steakhouse, the last one in the whole chain. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Thanks.